This week we've been talking about taking something back way to the basics. I've been kind of in my personal life just kind of interested in minimalism and reducing distraction. And I thought, well, today let's just take class all the way down to the basics and come back to breath. Um, my boyfriend Ross is also a yoga teacher, and he always says, if you can breathe, you can practice yoga. And I always thought that was a clever way of succinctly bringing the importance of breath to practice. We can live for several weeks without food. It's not pleasant, but we can do it. We can live for several days without water, but we can't live for more than just a few moments without the breath. It is the part of us that we acknowledge is alive. When we are checking to see if someone is all right, the first thing we check is, are they breathing? When the breath has left a body, we no longer recognize that particular shape as a living thing. So coming back to that very basic thing that Yogi Bhajan says, if there's anything divine in you, if there's anything holy or sacred in you, it's the breath. In the New Testament, when there's the Holy Spirit is spoken of, it is the Greek word pneuma that is used for this Holy Spirit, which is another word for breath. So the importance of that, and just kind of bringing that into, we're used to maybe, synchronizing movements with breath and things like that in our yoga practice. But I'd like to spend a little bit of time as we open class today, just simply being in the breath and finding some appreciation for that. So if you have your support that you're going to be using for your reclined heart opening position, let's start to set ourselves up in that. And there's a couple of ways that you can approach the shape as far as your support. You can kind of have it long ways with the sacrum near to one edge and recline. This supports the head as well as the shoulders and the heart. You can also experiment with different ways of turning your support to maybe focus a little more on the shoulders here and allow the head and throat to be open. So maybe experiment with different heights and things as well. You can raise or lower with a blanket or a block if you want to experiment with that. And then as you settle into your shape, whatever you're going to be using, as you begin to trust the support below you, the floor and whatever support you're using, to just allow yourself to relax your way into that. Just kind of let go of any doing. Use your heightened awareness to sort of scan the body for any places where there might be tension or holding. And then just use your breath. Inhale to make space for where that tension is, kind of open a little space around the tension. And as you exhale, just kind of soften and release it down. And notice as you become more relaxed in your shape, how open the lungs are and the ribs. Feel all that spaciousness for breath to flow in. We are often raised with the idea that giving is better than receiving, and that we should always think of others before ourselves. And while those are charitable and kind ways to behave, it is very important that we open to receiving. So in this open heart shape, just see if you can allow yourself to receive the breath a little more fully. And as you get that little extra sip of air, energy, oxygen, prana, notice that your exhale also lengthens to accommodate that extra breath. And so as we receive more, as we open more to inspiration, we have more to give. And it feels only natural and effortless to allow that breath to flow back out, or that abundance to flow back out, or that kindness or that compassion. It's just breathing deeply into that process.
And then finally, we'll begin to very slowly, now that we've settled into stillness, kind of very slowly return to movement. And we'll find our way from wherever reclined position we're in to an upright seat momentarily. And if you're using your support here, we might use it for our next shape as well. We're just going to take a gentle child's pose. So I'd highly encourage either to allow for the support to be under the belly, or possibly under the hips. So again, taking your time to discover the right position for you and the proper placement of your support so that you can feel that melting away of tension that comes with trust. In our last shape, we learned to open to receiving as breath flowed into that open space at the front of the heart. And then we were able to give more generously, more consistently, more naturally. And from that mindset, we are now focused more inward. And we feel not the front of the heart open, but the back of the heart. This posture feels a little bit more protective, a little more solitary. And even as we look inward or sort of make small the front of the heart, the back of the heart is so open, reminding us that our foundation is that abundance. And it's simply a matter of tapping into or opening up to that abundance that is always there behind us, always there to support us. Take a few more breaths in this shape. Just see what it has to teach you today. Letting tension melt, trusting. Breathing broadly into the back of the heart. And then again, slowly returning from stillness to movement. Start to make your way into sort of an upright seat again here. Maybe we just leave the knees wide and either sit on our support or just allow the support to rest in front of you as you sit upright for a moment. See if you can feel more of an equilibrium between the front of the heart and the back of the heart. Maybe a hand is placed at the front of the chest, just to kind of feel that balance. And then also maybe down towards the sacrum and the low belly. Just be aware of your breath moving. This is our awareness. This is our aliveness. This is our nourishment. It is our guide stone. We'll start to relax into a neutral tabletop shape, so removing any support for the moment that we've been using. And just pausing with that neutral spine, kind of feeling the front and the back of the heart equally open. And notice how your breath moves in that equal and balanced shape. And on your next inhale, allow your navel to come closer to the floor, the tailbone to point upward, the shoulders to pull slightly behind the heart. And just take about 2 or 3 breaths here. Notice where and how your breath flows in this shape. And on an exhale, lifting the navel up towards the spine, reaching the back of the heart upward, the tailbone and chin now pointing downward. And just take a few breaths here. Notice how and where your breath is flowing. Now flow back into that neutral, flat back. And again, just take note how the breath moves. Reach the right foot back behind you. Press into the palms. Stretch out the back of that right leg. See if you can keep that neutral spine as you do this. Heart centered. Switch sides. Left leg reaches back now. Stretching and opening. Coming back to all fours, we're gonna reach the right arm underneath the left arm and towards the left side of the mat. Just kind of lying the head or bringing the shoulder closer to the floor, just kind of opening up the back of that left shoulder. If you're comfortable resting on that right shoulder, you can also lift the left hand and maybe draw it to the hips or over towards the right hip. Maybe it presses into the floor and lifts the heart open a little bit. Good. Inhale and come back to all fours, neutral. And left arm reaches under right this time, resting on that left shoulder now. Choosing a comfortable place for the right arm. Opening up the back of the left shoulder, noticing where you can soften. Where can you trust a little bit and release that tension? Notice how your breath flows in the shape. And inhaling back to center, back to all fours. Both sets of toes tuck underneath the feet and press up and back into downward facing dog. Feel free to reawaken the backs of the legs a little bit and then see if you can find that neutral spine. Heart neither forward nor back. Long length. Notice how your breath flows here. Your breath can help guide you to a cleaner alignment. It might look different in each of our bodies, but when our breath is most at ease and flowing, we found the correct alignment. When we are a balance of effort and ease, of inhale and exhale. As you exhale next, come down towards a plank shape, a flat back. Knees might drop to the mat to support. But just pause here. Notice how your breath flows in challenge for just a couple of breaths. And then relax the whole front body down to the mat. Let the left arm reach out wide to the left. Right hand is underneath the right shoulder. As you inhale, press into the right hand and roll gently back onto that left shoulder. You might have to make a little adjustment in your position. Head can rest on the mat or stay alert, up to you. Just see if you can open the heart and gently open that front of the left shoulder. Exhale and release back to center. Switch sides. Left hand under the left shoulder. Right arm reaching out to the right. Gently pressing into that left hand to roll back against the right shoulder. Opening the heart. Exhale and release both hands under each shoulder now. Gently press up and away from the floor, a little cobra shape. You might choose to lift the feet away from the floor if you like. Just notice where and how the breath flows, again with challenge. Exhale and release and relax. Notice the instant change to your breath. Pressing up into table one more time. Inhale, a big cat arch into the spine, and exhale to sink into child's pose and just soften. This is that more inward facing pose, more contemplative. And feel even as we turn inward, as we focus into a smaller, rather than focusing on loving the whole world, just focusing on loving and observing the self. And feel that big open back body, that support of unconditional and limitless love that is always behind you. The breath is inseparable from your state of mind. Noticing as we flow through each posture, some forward facing, some inward facing, some twisting, some opening, some closing. Noticing the different states of mind that go with those body shapes and how the breath is also related and changes with each one. Let's continue to slow the breath here. Just a few more rounds of breath here in child's pose. The slower the breath, the greater the mastery of our minds. So let's rise from child's pose, taking your time to move back into downward facing dog. And again, reawakening the backs of the legs as needed. And then finding that long, flat back where the heart is centered, neither in the front nor the back of the chest, but right in the center. Notice your breath flowing in this equal shape, this balanced shape. Whether there is ease or effort here. On an exhale, let's sink back into our plank shape, on or off the mat, with or without support, long, flat spine. Feel your breath change under challenge. And feel the instant relief as you let go and let the whole front body come to the floor. Feel your body's breath change, your state of mind change. See if you can tune into the belly rising and falling from the mat as you breathe. This is your aliveness, your awareness, your very essence. Inhale and lift the heart gently away from the floor. Maybe the feet also rise. Feel the challenge again, how your breath changes. See if you can move or adjust the body to allow more breath flow, more ease in the breath. Maybe pause for one more cycle. And then exhale to release and relax. Feel that instant change of the state of mind as well as the breath. Let's draw the right knee to bend. So coming out to the side, to that right side of the mat. Left arm might reach out wide to the left, and then just gently pressing into that right hand again. Little half frog twist. How does your breath flow? Does this feel effortful or relaxed? What is your state of mind in this shape? Are you distracted by any sensations? Exhale and release. Drawing the right knee back, coming back to that neutral place, and then drawing the left knee to bend out to the left side. Right arm reaches out to the right, gently twisting open. Feeling your breath change. Feeling that link between the way we breathe and our state of mind. See if you can change your state of mind by breathing more quickly or more slowly. Feel the effort. Exhale, release, coming back to neutral, both hands underneath each shoulder. Soften, wait a few rounds of breath here, wait for the body to fully let go. Feel your belly rise and fall. Then inhale, press up slowly into a tabletop shape. Inhale into the back of the heart, creating that foundation of openness and trust. Exhale, sink into yourself, into child's pose and relax. Drawing the focus back inward, feel the back of the ribs rise and fall as you breathe. The more slowly we breathe, the more relaxed we can become in the body, the more mastery we have over the mind, the more awareness we have over the mind. The mind follows the breath. We can change our state of being simply by regulating our breath. It's the one part of our involuntary nervous system that we have any real relationship with. Experiment. Take a full breath in and hold it, and then release. And just notice your state of mind as you do this. And then take 5 sort of short inhales and forceful exhales in a row, and just notice your state of mind as you do this.
Then letting your breath return to whatever natural state feels right to you in this moment. Start to walk your hands over to the right side of your mat, opening up the left side body. See if you can anchor your left hip down, even as your left shoulder reaches further to the right. Where does your breath flow? Notice the quality of your breath. Do you feel relaxed or tense or active here? Notice how your breath changes. On an inhale, start to walk back through center. Walk your hands a little further towards the top of your mat. Lengthen your spine. Reach your crown away from your tailbone, but anchor your hips and tailbone towards the floor. Then walk your hands over to that left side. Pulling the right shoulder away from the right hip, which is grounding downward. And then just watch where your breath flows, what your state of mind is, how this posture feels to you today. On an inhale, walk back through center one more time. Reach towards the top of the mat. Keep walking your fingers, keep lengthening your spine. Then let your hips rise away from your heels, maybe coming onto the forearms. Walk the legs back behind you. Let the belly come down to the mat and just shine your heart forward. Little Sphinx pose. Gently draw the shoulders back, gently lift the crown. And feel where the shift in the breath is, the shift in the state of mind. Where can you relax or trust this pose a little more? On an exhale, release the whole front body down. Walk your elbows a little wider. Draw your palms under your shoulders. Press up through table and prepare to move through downward facing dog again. See if you can find that equilibrium in the front and back bodies, the right and left sides of the ribs. And just notice your breath in this very equal and balanced shape. Let's bring some asymmetry into the body. Left leg might lift first, but it'll step forward between the hands. And right knee can drop if you like. We're just gonna rise up as we inhale. Heart shines forward, maybe hands lift, maybe hands press down. But lifting as we inhale, exhale, chin towards the chest, rounding the back of the heart. We might even straighten that left leg a bit as we exhale. So it's one fluid motion. Inhaling as we open and lift. Exhaling as we curl over that left leg. Maybe take 2 more of these slowly, noticing your state of mind in different shapes, the speed of your breath. As you come back forward into your lunge, leave your right hand planted. Draw your heart open to the left. Left hand might press into the thigh or find some other position to open the heart by drawing the left shoulder behind the heart. Where can you soften? How can you move your body a little bit, adjust a little bit for more breath flow?
How can we open to receiving? And then give the breath on the exhale more generously. Good. Next exhale, release to frame the left toes. Tuck the right ones under the body. Start to slowly move back into our neutral downward facing dog. And as always, once you arrive in the shape, see if you can balance the front and back of the chest, the right and left sides of the ribs. Find your place of equal balance and just watch your balanced breath. Right leg might rise, and then it steps forward between the hands again. Left knee can drop. And we'll find that same motion. So find a secure lunge first. Then inhale to lift and open the heart. Exhale to lower and possibly begin to straighten that right leg, curling chin towards the chest. Downward. See if you can find no stopping points, but just a fluid motion as your breath circulates. As you arrive for your last time in your lunge shape, we'll take that twist again. So planting the left hand down, opening the heart to the right, finding the right position for you today, and your right arm, whatever that might be, softening downward through the hips, opening and lifting through that right shoulder, drawing behind the heart. And feel how your breath moves in asymmetry. Maybe there's ease in this pose for you, maybe there's challenge. Just being with that. Good. Exhale to release your twist. Slowly, gently moving back slowly to downward facing dog. Find your equilibrium. Right and left sides of the ribs, front and back of the lungs, and then let your breath flow. Exhale, find a plank shape. Notice your breath under challenge. See how smooth or relaxed you can choose to make it before releasing your front body down to the floor. Waiting for your body to fully surrender its weight to the floor. Noticing the change between challenge and rest in both the mind and the breath. Then inhale to lift and shine the heart forward. Maybe the feet also rise, balancing on the pubic bone. Feel again the challenge and how your breath flows, how you might choose to respond with your breath. Exhale and softly release the body back down. Wait again for the total surrender. And pressing up again, finding our table shape. We're going to move with the breath again, finding another flowing motion. And this one will be a twist. We'll start with the right hand. As we inhale, right arm reaches either out wide to the side or maybe up and above. As we exhale, it reaches under the body and to the left. So again, we don't have to stop anywhere. We don't have to rest the shoulder. This is more of a movement. But the inhale opens you to the right, the exhale opens you to the left. Just feel and monitor your breath. Feel the aliveness in you, feel the awareness in you. Maybe the shoulder is awakening in this moment. We feel a lot of blood and oxygen, rich with oxygen from our breath.
Maybe take one more in each direction before coming back to a neutral table. Neutralize your spine, front, back, left, and right. Take a few breaths to clear. Let's find that same flowing motion with the left arm now. Inhaling to open to the left, exhaling to open to the right. Maybe the shoulder is awakening again. Find your balance to the right side, and then we'll pause again in our neutral table. Taking a few breaths to clear and balance. And we'll slide the knees out to one side to bring the sitting bones back to the floor. If your bolster or support is still handy, we might bring that closer to the body. And there's two ways that we can use the bolster or support for this next shape. One would be to extend the legs long over the top so that the calves, or at least the backs of the knees, are supported. And then we can take a little forward fold like this. So that's one way to use that support. Another way would be to extend the legs long on the mat, place the support on top of the legs, and use it to support the chest or maybe the head. You can also use your elbows and hands to support the head, but we do want the chin to feel slightly tucked towards the chest in either shape. So choosing between those options is taking a soft fold forward. Notice how your breath again changes as you go inward. Feel the open space in the back of your heart, receiving deeply from that infinite well of compassion, of love, of connection, of knowing. And recognizing the smallness of the front of the heart, that individuality, we start to tap into and bring balance into our legs. See if you can leave your legs as they are, supported, and just come to a neutral, upright seat this way. Now we have that equality between the front and the back of the body, especially through the heart. And we want to feel what happens if we can maintain that equality in the front and back bodies as we find a twist. So maybe relocating our support once again. If you're using it, it can come to the outside of your left hip. And then we'll just draw as we sit next to that support, the knees to that left side. And we're just going to bring the body to face that support. And we might stay upright and just use the hands on the support. We might drop down to elbows and forearms on the support. If it's comfortable, you can also bring your body flat down to be supported by the support itself. So any of those options. And then what we want to try to do once we find this shape is find and keep that neutral spine from tailbone to crown, but soften and relax through the hips. Trust implicitly that support that is underneath you. And while this pose might at first feel like a challenge or straining or effort, we want to see if we can relax that by changing the breath, slowing the breath, relaxing the breath, allowing the mind to follow that. And as the mind slips into a more peaceful state, the body also relaxes more. Where is your breath moving? Are you receiving generously?
And are you giving without reservation as you exhale? Use your breath to make space and then let go of tension. Moving very slowly from the stillness back to motion, gently start to rise back up to face forward again. Coming back to both hips on the floor, both soles of the feet on the floor. If you're using your support, you can move it to the other side, to the right hip. Before we move back into the other twist, just pausing again. Legs can be straight or bent, but just kind of finding that neutral spine again. Bring the front and back body into balance and the right and left side of the ribs into balance. And just note any differences between the twisted shape and that length and flatness and equality of the spine and anything you might have experienced in the twist. We're going to again see if we can recreate this flat, sort of level, equal spine as we twist. So when you're ready, dropping both knees now to the right side, beginning to turn the heart to face whatever support you're using, and choosing your position. Seeing if we can recreate that flat spine from tailbone to crown. And just feeling how the rotation, different position of the organs inside the body might change the breath. Then begin to use the breath as the control or as the interface to begin to work with your mood and your mind state. If you need to relax a little bit more, slow the breath, slow the heart. Use your exhales to soften the hips. Use your inhales to receive support from the floor and your bolster. Use your exhales to trust that support. As your breath and your state of mind begin to become more relaxed, notice how the body follows suit. This posture can show us that even when we get turned around, or even when life takes us on a detour, or we end up facing a different direction or a different situation than the one that we had expected, when life gets a plot twist, we can use our breath as a way of connecting to that which is divine within us, the sacred, alive, and conscious part of who we are. And we can use that breath to determine our state of mind, and to bring health, relaxation, and peace to the body. When you feel balanced, to the other side, we'll once again slowly rise and begin to face forward again, neutralizing both hips and both soles of the feet to the floor. Neutralizing the spine again. And just taking a few breaths. And then finally, I'd like to take one more back bending shape. So choosing whichever feels good to you today. Maybe you choose the same one we started with class. Maybe you choose a different variation. Maybe your spine feels a little different than the beginning of class. And leg position can be anything from legs long to knees bent and collapsed together to feet together and knees wide. But just allowing yourself to come into that supported heart opener that most feels right to you today. Taking your time to fully arrive in the shape. And doing everything we can to trust the support below us to let go. to release our weight to it, to offer ourselves to it. And how the more we let go, the more the front body opens. Use your breath to relax the mind. Use the breath in to make space for that tension. Use the breath out to release and relax that tension. Open wide to that sacred breath, to awareness, to aliveness, to sustenance. And then use your exhale to give generously back, to reciprocate, to offer. Just notice how and where your breath flows. How it affects your state of mind, how the mind affects the body. And all of this is mastered by mastering the breath. And just returning again slowly from stillness to movement. You might bend at the knees to help rise back into a seated shape, leaving your support where it is. We're just going to turn the left hip to face that short edge again. Feet can remain in front of you if you like. You can also come back into that shape like we had for the twist. We're basically just going to reach that left hand either down to the support itself. We might also drop the forearm. If it's comfortable, you might bring your whole side, just use your left arm as a support. But that right arm is just going to kind of reach up and over and then just kind of hang behind the head, bending at the elbow. So this is really less about twisting and more about opening that right side. See if you can keep the right hip sort of anchored downward towards the heels and just kind of softly allow that right elbow to reach up and behind the head. Again, see if you can let go. The more you release your left side into the support, the more the right side opens naturally and effortlessly. Your hips can soften and relax a little. And when you feel ready, just slowly come out of this shape. We're going to turn to the other side. So rising slowly. Again, just leaving the support where it is, turning the body. Right hip alongside your support, choosing a leg position that works for you, and then either remaining upright or coming down to forearm. Just allowing that left arm to kind of rise up and behind the head, open, kind of pulling down the left hip a little bit. Just noticing where and how the breath flows. When you feel balanced, take your time to rise again. Coming to face away one more time from your support. Just gently finding your neutral spine with either legs bent or legs extended. Just kind of balance the right and left side, balance the front and back of the heart. And take a few breaths. If there's any other movement that your body feels like it needs, something that comes naturally or is being requested from your body, feel free to take that movement. And we're going to find our way to our resting shape. And since we have a bolster handy, we can take something like a deluxe shavasana if you like. You can come flat to your spine and just again allow the calves to rest on the support. This allows your feet to kind of float free with no tension on the feet. You can also use your bolster to sit and take an upright meditation shape for class today. Alternatively, you can also use the bolster up against a wall if you have one handy. And just bringing the sitting bones toward the bolster and just allowing your legs to rest and relax against the wall. Just finding your way, supported or unsupported. To your resting shape. As you start to find your way into stillness, just notice your breath changing. How this breath flow changes your state of mind. As your breath comes into a more relaxed state, also the mind becomes more relaxed. As the mind becomes more relaxed, the body, the manifest part of us, becomes more relaxed. We can begin to slow the breath intentionally, knowing that the slower our breath is flowing, the more mastery we have over the mind and the body. When we are tense or frightened or consumed by thoughts, our breath tends to be quick, our heart rate tends to be quick. We can begin by the practice of shavasana and the practice of meditation and yoga to intentionally slow the breath. And as we learn to do this with greater mastery, we are able to remain calm in situations that otherwise would have caused tension. We are able to intentionally and freely shift our attitude from one of stress and concern to peace and ease. Let's practice that peace and ease now. asi. Aham Brahmasmi. Prajnanam Brahma. Ayamatma Brahma. Tattvam asi. Aham Brahmasmi. Breathe in and breathe out. Just be aware of your aliveness. And the part of you that is aware of this aliveness, that is watching the breath flow. Just be aware of that part of you. Be aware of your awareness. The breath is our greatest teacher. It requires us not to seek for it, but simply to pause and tune in. The breath teaches us to receive the fullness of divinity. The breath teaches us to let go completely and trust the next breath to come. The breath teaches us that we are connected to plants and animals and the oceans and the sky. Breath teaches us oneness. The breath teaches us yoga. Just revel a little while longer in your breath. And as you feel ready, come from your resting shape into some kind of broader shape. Maybe a long stretch or just a gentle lift of the heart, or the fingers and toes pulling away from the heels and palms. And breathe in deeply while you're holding that more expansive shape. And start to reshape the body into some kind of inward pull. Maybe we take child's pose, or we curl inward, or we sort of cannonball or roll up. And just hold that shape while letting your exhales be the focus of your attention. And release that posture. And just find your way to that equal and balanced state that we've been finding and refinding throughout our practice today.
The front body, back body equally open. The right and left sides of the ribs equally open. And just again, revel in your aliveness. Feel divine consciousness and awareness and life moving through you. On your next inhale, breathe in deeply and bring your arms out wide. Let your palms come to touch above your head, gathering up all that life force energy. Exhale, pull it into your heart center. So if you can maintain that alignment, that front and back body opening, especially around the heart and lungs, even as the chin gently bows to the heart. We bow to our great teacher, the breath. We notice the thing that unites all living things and is ever present within us. And so we allow the breath to teach us, and oneness, we offer our lives in service to that wholeness. We close our practice with this prayer. Loka, samasta, sukhino, bhavantu. May all beings be happy, healthy, safe, and free. Namaste.